G'day again guys, welcome to our 2016 Jayco Swan Outback. Today I'd like to show you a handy little mod that might be helpful to any of you guys that are running a coast to coast water tank battery monitor, which is this little darling here. So we're currently running obviously the dual tank model, which shows both water tanks and obviously a battery monitor. The thing that annoys me about these things is that when you flick the monitor switch to see what's going on, as you can see, at first glance it looks like both tanks are full, and I know 100% that this tank on the left here is not full. If you look closely you can see the difference in the lights. So there is actually a green light at the top and an orange one there, but I know this light is not lit, but it's still, as I say, I really have to look at the gauge, and as you'll agree, after a couple of beers that's just way too much work. So let's have a look, see if we can do something about it. So these things are pretty easy to get the face off, so you can just take a standard blade screwdriver, and there's a little slot in the side. You can just carefully just lever it out and the whole thing will just pop out of its enclosure. So once you pop the fascia off, just be careful not to touch the circuit board or jar any of the wires. Just treat it very gently, but we can already see there's a big gap here between the fascia and the circuit board where obviously the LEDs are, and this is what's creating this light bleed. So we need to get this off and just have a look inside. So the easiest way, I haven't undone any wires, but there's two nuts here that are holding the circuit board attached to the fascia. So I'm using a 5mm socket, which is a little bit loose actually, but it really takes zero pressure. I'm not even using a tool, just using my fingers, and just undo these, and then we'll just carefully just pop these off, and just try and put them somewhere safe. You definitely don't want to lose those, and try not to handle the circuit board too much. So now we can just extract the board away from the face. So now I'll just show you when I flick these on now without the fascia on, you can see that there's actually only two LEDs on the left hand water tank that are actually lighting up, but because of that space the light bleed is lighting up all four LEDs, or makes it appear that the left tank is almost full. So this is something we just can easily address, I think, by separating the light bleed. So I've gone down to see my mates at Bunnings again, and we bought some of this Raven door window seal. It's less than $6 for a whole roll. So we'll just get our seal, use a cutting board and a sharp knife or a blade, and basically just cut it down the length, approximately about 100 or 120 millimeters long, and just split it into two like so. Now we just take our two strips, cut those in half. So my strips ended up around 60mm, so you need about 50 to 60mm for lengths. Obviously if you've only got the single tank model you might not need to cut them so long, but it'll be pretty obvious how long they need to be when you go to install them. Okay, so we're back inside now. So normally this circuit board we can fold out of the way and normally tuck it out. The main thing is you don't want to touch any of the circuitry, so only hold it by this white plug here. If your wires aren't long enough or you do find it's in the way, you can remove the board, but you just have to be careful. So just only grab it by the edges, not touching any of the face, and you can actually just give it a little jiggle and just pop the little plug off. And again, just be very careful not to touch the face, only touch the edges. You can place that somewhere safe, and it just gives us a bit more room to work. So now we're just left with the face. The other thing to be careful of is there are these little plastic spacers that slide over. Just be careful not to lose those, they are very important. So now what we do is just take our strips of door seal that we've cut up and peel off the backing, and we literally are just going to stick down strips so that we separate where the little holes, little windows where the LEDs shine through. So just like that. So basically you're not blocking any of the holes, but you're stopping any of the light bleed. So we'll carry on and do the others. So I've got 3 strips down, which separates all of the windows quite nicely, but I'm going to put one down on the bottom because there is actually a bottom light for the water pump. So I just want to, while we've got it apart, separate that as well. That's probably not really a big issue, but it's really easy to do right now. So there we go. Now it's just a matter of we'll clip our circuit board back on and remount it again. Don't touch any of the face of the board, sides only. This can just clip in nicely. Sit it on there. And so there's no need to tighten these up within an inch of their life, just firm with your fingers. Just make sure, of course, those spaces are still in there. And there we go. Now we can just carefully push your wires in, so make sure you don't crimp anything up in there. And hook it back in. Alright, finished. We'll just give it a flick on. Okay, you can clearly see it's a lot easier to see just what levels you actually got in your tank. So there's a tiny bit of light bleed from the third one there, but it's very obvious that the third light is not actually on. So yeah, $6, a little bit of time, and no more guessing about where your water levels are. So yeah, I hope this helped you out. If it has, give me a thumbs up or subscribe, or just leave me a message in the comments or whatever, and hopefully I'll get a few more things up shortly, and yeah, let me know how you guys get on. Cheers.